Hi, everyone. So yes, as shared, my name is Kaila Davis Nsimbi, and this is my second year on the Team Read board. I was really excited to join the board because I'm passionate about education equity, and I believe that every student deserves to have the opportunity to build the skills that they need for academic success. I also believe, as the great Whitney Houston said so powerfully, the children, the youth are our future. And when they're invested and involved in the change making, that we will see more equitable and more sustainable solutions to the challenges that we see in our world today. And so Team Read is doing all of that. And I'm just glad to be able to be a supporter of that work. For some housekeeping, as Kristen mentioned, you can use the chat, obviously, but also if everyone can mute themselves during the panel, that will help us keep our sound quality consistent. And we will have that time for Q&A at the end, but also as you hear great things from our incredible coaches, feel free to use the chat to show some love as well. Before we go any further, Team Read would like to acknowledge that our programs in the Seattle and Highline Public Schools operate on the ancestral lands and traditional territories of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people, specifically the Duwamish and Muckleshoot tribes. And so we give thanks to the elders and to our Native and Indigenous families and colleagues. And wherever it is that you are tuning in from, we encourage you to reflect on the history of the land upon which you reside. Now I'd love for the coaches to introduce yourselves. So if you can share your first name, your grade, and your history with Team Read, like how long you've worked with Team Read, the sites that you've served at, and also the roles maybe that you've had along the way. So Abby, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name's Abby, and I'm a senior at Franklin High School. And I've been with Team Read for 4 years, my first year being a tutor, and my last 3 years being a site assistant.
Thanks,
Hi,
Abby.
my name's Christian. I'm a freshman and in ninth grade, and this is my first year as a Team Read coach.
Hi, sorry.
Hi, I'm Cosmo. I'm a junior, and this is my first year being a coach, and I work at Concord. So yeah.
Hey, I'm Claire. I'm in 12th grade at Garfield. I served as a reading coach at Lowell for 4 years, and then just this past semester, I've been the site assistant at our new Magnuson site.
Hi, my name is Diem. I'm a senior at Highline High School, and this is my first year working as a Team Read coach. I work at Midway in Hazel Valley.
Awesome, thank you. So we have a wide range of experience here on this call, so really excited to hear from all of you. So the question on everyone's mind, why did you want to become a Team Read coach? DM, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I applied to Team Read because I thought it was a good way to get more involved with the district. And I didn't have any experience working with elementary school students. So I thought it would be interesting to learn how to interact with a whole new age range.
Great, thank you.
Sure, I can share next about for the question. So I wanted to become a Team Read coach because for like the past couple of years before COVID, I've been helping out with my elementary school kickstart or jumpstart thing to help like kindergartners like get incorporated into my elementary school, which is JSIS, which is a dual language immersion school. And I also wanted to like continue since we can't really do jumpstart online for that. I wanted to continue my involvement in helping elementary school students feel more comfortable, and for Team Read and helping them with their fluency and confidence in reading.
I think initially, as a freshman in high school, I joined Team Read because I was looking for a new extracurricular that felt a little bit meaningful compared to some of my other options. And it felt like a way for me to figure out what I wanted to do career-wise. I was sort of on the fence about whether I wanted to go into something related to education. And Team Read has definitely been a great way to help learn about that.
Well, I joined Team Read because in second grade, I was actually a student in Team Read, and as each session passed, I became less intimidated by reading. I felt grateful to have a role model who cared about my learning and was inspired to assume that position for others in the future.
I joined Team Read. I really like working with kids. I've worked with kids in the past. I really like I think it's just really rewarding building a relationship with them and watching them grow, and I saw this as an opportunity to really just work with kids and yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. So.
Wow, thank you. So I'm hearing, so folks are looking to get involved, looking to do some career exploration, having a passion for working with young people, was a coach in the past. And so that's really cool to hear about all of the different things that brought you all to this work. And looking at, this year especially, what have been some of the biggest challenges and benefits to online tutoring? And maybe what are some of the techniques that you use to build a connection with your readers? Abby, let's start with you.
Well, I think the biggest benefit to online tutoring is definitely not having to commute. But the biggest challenge would be lower participation rates among students and other technical issues such as poor internet connection and audio. And I actually helped Team Read launch virtual tutoring last summer. So I think the transition into tutoring this year felt a little easier with me because I was already familiar with Zoom. And some techniques I would use to build connections with readers is to get to know them outside Team Read, such as asking what their hobbies are or what they did over the weekend.
Yeah, I think the thing about just like asking them about how their day was, and just being nice and just trying to build that connection. I think that's a really good strategy to just like really show them that you care about them. I think really big uh, like just really hard thing to deal with was just background distractions. Like parents coming up and trying to help, and it does the opposite. And there's toys, and one of my kids had guinea pigs, and so that was a whole nother thing. I could talk about that for hours. But I think just trying to calm them down and get to reading. It works, and it eventually works.
Yeah, I had the same challenges where it was really some days it was hard to keep them focused because they're at home and I'm not like physically there with them. And it can also be really challenging, especially since they've already had Zoom classes before sessions. And so they could have experienced like a lot of Zoom fatigue. But some benefits were that since it was in a breakout room setting, it would be only my reader and I, and that kind of helped alleviate the focusing issue. Um, and I think another big benefit to online tutoring is considering the context we're in, so like this global pandemic and just everything that's going on. I think online tutoring has really provided an opportunity of just support and connection, and knowing that you at least have somebody, your reading coach, to be there for you, which I think was a really big benefit to online tutoring this year. And some techniques I use to build a connection with my reader would be whenever we did comprehension questions, I tried to not have it be like I ask a question and then they respond and then I ask and then they respond, because that can get really robotic sometimes. And so I would do is just try to talk to them like a regular human being, and so that we can create a conversation. So it's not just like really strict and robotic.
Yeah, I think there's some benefit to online tutoring also in terms of just general student comfort. I think sometimes students are more comfortable reading from their own space at home than at school, especially if they're meeting a new coach or a situation like that. But yeah, I think a lot of our strategies, both in person and over Zoom, are coming from a similar place, but there have definitely been things that I've had to adjust, like the strategy of meeting a student where they're at energy wise. Like if a student is having a particularly low energy day, that looks very different in person and on Zoom, because on Zoom they can just stay muted, they can turn their camera off, and I, can't read that body language to help assess where they're at. So yeah, applying some new strategies, like maybe saying, hey, it's okay if you're not quite ready to unmute yet. How about I read to you for 10 or 15 minutes and you could answer a question or two in the chat, and then we'll try reading together. That was a new kind of field to discover.
Yeah, I'd say for me, some of the biggest challenges that I've had like with my students would kind of be like technical difficulties, because it'd either be like on their side or on my side sometimes, where they just like wouldn't be able to like maybe read the book, or like the sound quality wouldn't be quite as well. And some of the techniques I sort of use is like we can also like use the chat maybe, or like maybe sometimes you can ask if like they can like get a parent to help out with that. And I think something that was good to like gain connections with them was how we would do like little mini fun games of like we'd do like maybe rock paper scissors, or like we'd come up with a color and see if they can find something in their house that was like their favorite of that. So yeah, I think those are as well.
I love that. So it's like, the challenges from technical difficulties to guinea pigs, but and also on the connection side, it's like utilizing games and those personal connections on, checking in on how they're doing, and also being really flexible, it sounds like, as well, when students might be a little bit checked out. So what I'm hearing, is y'all are definitely educators in the making, because those are things that I think teachers were learning and stuff as well this year. And so in thinking about, your experience and your work at Team Read, how is it that you feel you've made a difference through your work? And maybe also what has surprised you the most during this experience?
Well, what surprised me is just how smart these kids were. Like, they were just like, they were asking just really great questions, and they were recognizing patterns in the books they read. Like, I've never worked with a kid academically. I've worked with them, like I've taught them drums and bass and things like that. But like these kids, these were smart kids. And that was surprising to me. Like I don't remember being that smart in second grade. Like, like I don't know. And I think they've just like, I think the difference I've made is just noticeable growth in the confidence of their reading, because they've definitely from day one, it's a noticeable difference. It's noticeable growth from the last day, which is coming up, of their confidence when it comes to reading a book and asking questions, and that's really rewarding to see, and that's just, I think, the biggest difference I've made. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with like how big of a difference it would be as well, just sort of seeing like from the beginning how they were to the end. Because for one of my readies, they were like stuttering a bit, and then they'd repeat like the word they were saying. And then now, after like practicing, being encouraging, and we had like a little like trying to get as many points as possible, or reading as many books as possible in a day, but still doing like all the necessary things. They've been able to read more fluently, and I'm kind of surprised by just like how well they've been able to improve, like even just like over online instead of in person. And I'm like excited to see like how they might improve even more over in person. And I feel like that was a pretty big difference.
I want to add on to Cosmos, the biggest difference through like Team Read, and tie it back to one of my favorite memories with my readers. And so it was the first time she asked me if we could reread a book without me having to prompt her and tell her, it's time to reread the book. Because she was a little shy at first, so it was kind of hard for her to read with a lot of expression. She just didn't really have that much confidence going into it. But I think it was sometime in January or February, just during one of our sessions, I remember that we talked about movies and how she really likes Disney movies. And so I explained how rereading this book will kind of sound like we're acting out a movie and playing as, like the different characters. And I don't know what happened, but I guess that connected two dots in her head, and she just acted out all the lines of dialogue with a lot of expression. And then the next sessions moving forward, she really surprised me by asking, like, can we reread again? And I was like, what? Because I never expected her to do that. And
I love that fun technique, dude. Yeah, I like to hope that a difference that I've made for my students is helping them understand that they deserve to get more out of their education than just sit down, be quiet, get your work done. Um, I had a moment, I think my very first year with Team Read, where I had a fairly shy student, and one day he was especially disengaged, but he kept saying over and over, I want to go to San Francisco. And I found out that he had a friend that had just moved away, so he was very focused on that. And eventually I just said, okay, well, I'm your pilot, and this right here in the library is your plane, and we're going to San Francisco at 5 minutes to the end of session. So let's get some reading done first, and then we'll fly to San Francisco. And I didn't know how that was going to go, but he thought it was very funny, was much more engaged. And I think that's just because he really appreciated that I was acknowledging that it was okay for him to be missing his friend rather than completely focused on Team Read, but I was still here to support his education. Yeah, so I hope that going forward, my students know that their feelings matter at school.
I think one of the most fulfilling feelings of being a tutor at Team Read is seeing your student move up reading levels and picking up all the strategies and techniques that you taught them. And a lot of the students that I have worked with in the past disproportionately come from in the underrepresented backgrounds. So closing the education gap is a rewarding feeling for me.
Oh, that's so powerful. And hope y'all are seeing in the chat, there's a lot of love for you there. But yeah, just hearing that, one of the things I thought that Cosmo shared was really powerful is thinking about just because a student might need some additional support in reading doesn't mean that they are not super smart young people, right? And so that being able to have someone who can see them beyond maybe a test score is really important. And also that in these relationships, students are able to feel some success in school and feel really empowered. And so really appreciate y'all sharing. What are your plans, maybe for seniors, but also, if you're thinking about kind of college and career, would love to know what your plans are after graduation and how this experience has helped you prepare for college or your career.
Well, I will be attending the University of Washington Foster School of Business in the fall. And I think the confidence, time management, and communication skills I learned through supervising the Team Read site will help me pursue a business management career.
Congratulations, Abby.
Thank you.
I'll be attending Smith College in Boston this fall with the intentions of double majoring in studio art and education. My Team Read readers were literally the final push that swayed me into the field of education. Their energy is just so contagious, and like being able to witness the amount of growth they've made is just really rewarding. And it just feels really good to know you're helping a student uncover like just all the gifts they possess. And so that's what I'll be doing this fall.
Awesome. Congrats, Ian.
Okay, well, I'm currently a freshman, so I gotta say I'm still quite far away, but not too far from graduating and going to college. I have not done my college application yet, but I'll do it soon. Um, but for my plans, I feel like I've gained a lot of valuable skills from this. And after doing Team Read, it's made me want to consider more though of like a teaching career or something like that. I still have a couple of years though to consider and explore different maybe like passions that I'll have. But for now, Team Read has had a big impact on my thoughts and yeah.
So, in the fall after graduation, I'm going to be attending the University of Pittsburgh and hoping to major in applied developmental psychology. And that's actually within the School of Education there. So, it really focuses on student mental health. And I think Team Read has definitely helped me discover that that's what I was really passionate about within just my general ideas of maybe working with kids would be fun. I now know a little bit more about what specifically feels relevant.
I I've always really wanted to be like a performer, like a musician or an actor or something like that. So when it comes to like school kind of things, it Team Read like hasn't really prepared me like career wise kind of thing, if you know. But like working in a group, um, and working in a group with like the whole group of coaches, um, you know, that's really, you know, develop people skills. That's a good that's great. And like working one on one with someone also, it like is really important because that's also developed my people skills. And I think it's just like it's definitely given me skills. I don't know about like career type of skills, but like life skills for sure. So yeah.
I love it. And that's important because I'm hearing that some of what you're doing is directly related to what you want to do. It's either confirmed that that's the direction that you want to go, or it's lit a fire within you to pursue it, or it's built, like you said, kind of those life skills, those transferable skills you'll learn. You know, that's kind of the language we use in the career world. So there's transferable skills, right, to be able to use as you continue on. So, what would you tell someone who's interested in joining Team Read?
It's well, I would say it's a fantastic experience. It gets challenging, but like it's so rewarding to see growth in someone. It's just in someone that you're tutoring. You know, it's like you're building this connection with someone, and you know they're growing, and it's just like it gets challenging. You know, they'll have two guinea pigs in their hands and they won't be reading, and you're trying to get them to read, but they're not reading. Um, sorry. But anyway, uh, yeah, but like it's a great experience, and I think I think it's it's really it's really rewarding, and it feels really nice. So also, yeah, yeah.
I would tell that person to join because I think working with Team Read is a great opportunity to develop a wide skill set while also helping out the community. And Team Read is also great for making connections and networking, which will come in handy for finding jobs and internships.
Yeah, I'd also tell them of how like great of an opportunity is. It's because you're like giving back and helping the community, which I'm like, which is like a pretty big thing for me, because like I've lived in and been helped by others, and I want to keep passing that down, so that future generations can like get the care and love from everybody else around them. And also it's just sort of like what Cosmo said, it's like rewarding, and it makes you feel like good inside to know that you're helping somebody improve upon their reading skills and like excel in something. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good first job. You like learn how to be patient, learn how to be a better communicator, learn how to communicate things in different ways. And it's also just really interesting when you're able to connect with kids and then you like all of a sudden find yourself trying to explain what rhyming is. And the concept of teaching is just really cool. And even if you don't think you like working with kids, which honestly was my case initially, Team Read might surprise you.
Yeah, I also found Team Read to be a really effective first job for helping me sort of develop professional confidence. Yeah, and I think it's been a great way to sort of discover my strengths, build confidence in those strengths. And also, I feel you, Cosmo, on the guinea pig distraction. A student at my site has a pet bird. But I think that Team Read, whether it is personally relevant to your career or not, it is a great way to learn about how to get better at something and make mistakes and ask questions.
So good. Makes me want to go back in time and become a Team Read coach. If only that was possible. So would love to know, because we could have it where, me now as an adult, I could become a reading coach, but we have teenagers do that work. And so why is it that you think that teenagers make great reading coaches?
Well, the students, they have teachers, like they have, teachers that are professionals, and they're not, just 17-year-old kids. But like, I think the coach dynamic really makes them comfortable in reading. They like just someone that's patient with them, someone that is like not an adult. It just like makes them more comfortable and more confident. Um, I think I think that's why the teenager thing works so well, because they're not intimidated. They're not. Yeah, I think intimidated is the best word. It's just their coach. It's not their teacher. I feel like that's how they see it. So yeah.
I'd also say how like instead of being like teachers most of the time are like a lot older than elementary school students, not to be like mean to teachers or anything, but I feel like when you're closer in age, it's easier to connect. And also when you're like a team read coach, you're not like 10, 20 years away from when you were in elementary school. You're only, let's say, like I don't know, whatever amount of time, but like a couple of years. Um, so I feel like it's easier to connect with people that are like closer to your age, especially for younger kids and students.
Yeah, go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the smaller age difference, I mean, we're old enough to understand what we might have needed at their age and yeah, really connect to that, but also still totally understanding of the stresses of growing up and coming of age. And I think that's really helpful. I've noticed parallels between myself kind of nervous about going off to college and into the world and students sort of worried about moving on to middle school. I think that's been really helpful.
Any other thoughts on this one? Thank y'all for sharing.
I agree with what everyone just said, that I think high schoolers make better tutors because we're like younger than their actual teachers. So we're kind of seen as like the cooler role model.
Anyway, I think y'all are making a great case for, keeping it a teenager kind of reader model. You'll still make sure there's job security for all of the middle and high schoolers who are going to be pursuing this. And so you are all, as we can hear, really incredible super tutors, right? With your own unique super tutor powers. And so what would you say is the secret to being a super tutor? How do y'all do it? What's your secret sauce?
I think for me, it's to just tailor to each kid. And this is especially relevant for me because I'm at two different elementary schools. So I have 4 kids in total. And so each of them are different individuals and they have their different needs. And so just tailoring to each one and treating them as they are, which are, individuals, really helps build a connection and helps you understand them and helps them reciprocate to you more. And I think just kind of imagine them, or for me, it's easy for me to kind of imagine them as my younger self and how I would have liked to be treated and what I would have needed when I was younger.
Thanks, DM. What about you, Christian?
Yeah, it's sort of thinking like not quite sure if empathy is the like correct word for it, but sort of like being able to feel what the other person would feel or like the student would feel, so that you can sort of like think like, if I were in their position, would I want to be like drilled with questions for and then act just like constantly being fed questions like on a test or something like that, or do I want to be like talk through the questions, maybe like look back at certain areas or things like that. So yeah, I think being able to like feel what they would feel.
Yeah, and I think just being their tutor and helping them read and helping them grow, but also just like being just acting like you care about them, just like I said, just asking them about their day and asking them like how they're feeling and just like and just throughout the 45-minute period that we have them, just like make them feel cared about, and then you build that how they're comfortable, and then they get more confident, and then now they get excited about reading. Now they just they just get better at reading, and it's it yeah, I mean that's how I see it. So
Yeah, I think that it's really helped me a lot over the years to see coming to Team Read as less just I'm coming to go to work and do a job that I have to do, and more of a partnership between me and the student that I'm reading with. So as they build confidence and improve on their reading skills, I'm building confidence and improving on my coaching skills, and we have to work together to do that. Um, and yeah, as long as I'm continuing to try my best to support them and ask for advice from more experienced coaches or site coordinators when I don't know if what to do or I want to try something different next time. As long as I'm just trying my best and getting advice, then that's the best that I can do.
I think the secret to being a super tutor is forming a strong bond and getting to know your student, because your student will work best when they're comfortable with you and with the environment that you created.
Thanks, y'all. So I heard it's this individualized approach, building empathy and compassion for them, showing interest in who they are, and recognizing that your relationship, this partnership, is mutually beneficial. Like you're providing, some guidance and information for them, but you're also being able to build skills and things of your own and benefiting from the relationship, because third graders are pretty hilarious, right? So you get all of the laughs, even with the frustration, I guess, with the guinea pigs and distractions. So in the chat, so I haven't seen any questions, just lots of y'all are great. So if there are any questions though, please feel free to add them. Okay, we have one from Angela. And so can you share a little bit about how the role of the site supervisor is different to the coach role? And so let's see, who's that? Abby and Claire are your site assistants. And so can you share a little bit about what the differences are there?
Well, the difference is the site assistant doesn't get a student to work with, and instead you're there to collect data and like observe the other tutors to provide feedback. And yeah, I think that's like the main difference.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean a lot of what I've shared today has been based off of my 4 years of coaching because I'm pretty new as a site assistant this semester, but yeah, it's been a shift from working with students of my own to trying to use those years of coaching to help guide other coaches, but within their own unique coaching styles.
It's a question. So thank you for that. And so next year, would you prefer to coach in person versus virtual? What do you think, Christian?
I think I'd like to do in person because I actually haven't really had the chance to because this is my first year, so I've only been able to experience online. So I feel like it'd be important to also see how in person team read would be, since also that's normally how it is. So I'd just say I'd prefer it to be in person so that I could get the experience about that.
Got it. Cosmo, were you going to share?
Yeah, I was just gonna I was just gonna say, yeah, I'd see like I'd probably want to coach in person. I'd want to see like what it's like because this is my first year too, so there'd be less toys. The parents wouldn't come and distract. Oh god, it's so annoying when they do that. And it would be just like one-on-one for sure. There wouldn't be any distractions, you know. So that would be cool.
Got it. I see there's some, maybe a hybrid model can be part-time in person and part-time on Zoom. Because it sounds like there were some benefits, but it sounds like there's also this energy towards maybe it'd be great to be in person as well. DM, Abby, or Claire, did you want to chime in on that one?
I've never done in-person coaching. This is my first year, but I think I'd probably prefer in-person coaching simply because the students, when they go to sessions, obviously they're great and energetic and everything, but I can tell that it isn't like their full capacity simply because they've had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours of Zoom instruction beforehand. And so more Zoom on top of this can be really draining.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that I think a hybrid model would be ideal going forward. I think there's definitely students and families for which in person has been a lot easier to manage, and that's been lacking and really difficult this year. And there's others where they never would have been able to join Team Read before had they not been able to join from home.
I would prefer to coach in person because I just miss seeing everyone and being a part of the community. And also like my site is like a 2-minute drive from my house, so it's not that bad.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, hopefully, you know, as we open up, we can we can be all in person again. So I love this question. It's about the books, right? And so were there any titles that were particularly popular with the students that you were coaching?
Oh man, yeah, there were these like Disney classics comic books on Epic Books, and my students loved those. There were they loved. This was when I read to them. They would love the Disney, those like, it would be like just Disney movies like Cinderella or Tangled or whatever, and The Incredibles, stuff like that. They loved those, and then also, you know, one of my students liked Scooby-Doo. We'd just like go down a huge list of Scooby-Doo books. And, you know, those are good opportunities to, you know, do voices and get them engaged. So that's fun. That's a good time. Yeah.
So it sounds like you did get to use some of your performance skills then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the other books?
I think definitely graphic novels of almost any type are always a really helpful tool for students that haven't had a whole lot of fun reading before, learning to find reading fun. And that ranges from totally new books that I've never heard of before on some of our online platforms to like classics I also read as an elementary schooler, like Captain Underpants. Yeah.
Oh yes, the classic Captain Underpants. Abby, what about you? What were some of the books your readers liked? Or you heard that?
Well, I haven't tutored. I haven't tutored for like a while, so I don't really remember. But I see a lot of when I observe tutors right now. I see a lot of students like they enjoy like the Disney books, I guess.
I think one like universal series that all my readers enjoy is like Fly Guy. And it's kind of, and when I read to them, it's just kind of weird to see these books that I read when I was, in that grade too. Like there's that one book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and just brought like so many memories. And I want to mention that it's really cool to see, or when I go through Sora, and so we can like pick a book for me to read to them, it's really cool to see how far the book selections have come in terms of like diversity and representation. And I'm just really glad that they're able to have those books.
That's cool. So I heard a couple of different, Christian would definitely want to come to you, but it sounds like there are a couple of different platforms that you all were using. I heard like Epic Books, and then you said Sora as well. That's pretty interesting. And so it sounds like that might have opened up, right, the inventory of books that students have access to, maybe compared to what you might have in person. Ooh. Christian, what about you? Or some of your readers' favorite books?
Yeah. Both of my readers liked one of them liked the Smurf series and the other one liked Big Nate. And I've read only a couple books from each one before, but I remembered how I enjoyed them, and they also seemed to like have a lot of facial expressions. They're like, oh no, or like yay. So it was exciting to see how their reactions were as well.
Nice. Thanks, y'all. Are there other questions? All right, we have, what has been your favorite team read memory? And also, what do you hope to see in the future for team read? So let's talk about your favorite team read memory. We'll come to the second question. Claire, you want to get us started?
Sure. Yeah, it's tough because it's been a while, but I think one of my favorite memories was just a couple of weeks ago during a Zoom session where there's a student who's been consistently pretty quiet, stayed muted a lot, camera off, but we ask a question of the day every session in the big group with everybody all together before we break out into breakout rooms. And this historically pretty shy student got really excited about a question of the day. I think it was just something like, what are you looking forward to doing this summer? But he unmuted and talked for a little while about his plans and how he was like really excited to see his cousin. And it was a very cool moment because it was clear to me that it was his work building his relationship with his coach that had gotten him to that point where he was willing to share.
So good. What about you, Abby?
I think one of my favorite memories from Team Read happened during my first year as a tutor, where I think it was like really sunny outside, and it was like near the end of the program. So our site coordinator, she let us take a picnic blanket outside, and everyone got to like read with their students outside, and that was really fun.
I'd say one of my favorite, or so I already sort of like talked about earlier about like one of my favorite team reading memories was sort of seeing like them go from like maybe not being able to read as well, maybe stuttering a little bit, repeating the words, and then coming to now where they're able to like read very fluently. But another one that I haven't shared yet, would be after like sort of the first week of doing it, they were kind of like iffy on the comprehension questions, where they like do short little sentences, maybe not fully answering the question. And I this time I would sort of just ask the question, and then they would talk a lot about it, and they were more confident about answering it. So
For me, another one of my favorite memories was when my reader, she found a book that was about a holiday in her culture, and just she was so excited to read it to me, and she would, I don't know, she just participate a lot more, and she would like share additional information about the holiday, and it was just really, really cool to see that.
It's beautiful. Cosmo, what about you? What's your favorite memory?
Well, I think, I mean, I have a lot of great memories with one of my students. His name was Jason, of just like just kind of like, I don't know, at the near the end of sessions, he got kind of restless and just kind of like hanging out. You know, he'll grab his guinea pigs, because he can't resist anymore. You know, because I've made him read for 20 minutes, but he'd grab his guinea pigs and we'd just talk, and I think those are good moments where we can just talk together. So yeah, I don't think I have a specific moment, but those are great times. Yeah.
Thank you. And so what do you hope to see in the future for Team Read? See, DM, we'll start with you.
Maybe just like more branches of Team Read, because I've been trying to find similar programs in Boston, which is where I'll be going next year, but there just hasn't been something similar to Team Read, and so I think it would be nice to have more branches.
Team Read Boston, coming right up. No. Gotta work on that, Melissa. Abby, what about you?
Oh, I think one thing Team Read could improve on is maybe offering the program to like students in more grades, because I think right now it's just second and third grade, and I think the fourth too. But it would be nice if we could do like kindergarten and first grade and fifth grade.
Thank you. Love that. Christian, what about you?
For the future Team Read, yeah, sort of thinking like same thing. Sort of just like being able to make it accessible to everybody, so like spreading it out more. But I know that'll probably take more time, since a lot of different things need to go into account for that. Like setting everything up. So yeah, I'd say just spreading it out, because it's only it has a decent amount of people, and I feel like if you expand it more, it'll be able to benefit more.
Yeah, I think just like outreach, just getting the program out to as many kids as possible is just like the best direction, I think, to go.
Yeah, I coached with a fourth grade Team Read program for a couple of years, and I saw a lot of stress from students aging out of the program, and we had a couple stay on as fifth graders, but I think more support for older grades and maybe over the summer moving into middle school would be a great support for a lot of those students.
Thank you. So yes, it sounds like the board, we have our work cut out for us to do some program expansion. So thank you all for that feedback. Melissa?
Yeah, no, that's hugely inspirational. I want you to know, Kaila, I'm going to be singing Whitney Houston all night. You guys have done a great job of sharing your experience, and I feel like I've learned a whole lot from you. So thank you so much. It's also really inspiring to hear what you're taking with you and where you're going. And I just really hope you'll stay in touch. Claire, Team Read Pittsburgh, Team Read Boston, we're going to call you. So, and Abby, you know, Foster Business School has done quite a lot of work with Team Read, so we'll be looking forward to seeing you there too. So Cosmo and Christian, you got a couple more years, but looking forward to having you guys back, and thank you again. This has been quite a year for everybody, and we could not have done what we have without you. So thanks for your flexibility, your creativity, and your commitment. It's just really, really inspiring, and definitely going to get me through to back when we're in person again. So, thanks, everybody.